Hi and welcome to another Memories Made video. I'm designer Jen Gallacher, and this month we are addressing titles. And titles is actually something that I sometimes struggle with, so I thought I would address that with you in these videos this month. Hi and welcome to another Memories Made video. I'm designer Jen Gallacher, and this month we are concentrating on titles. Now titles is actually something that I struggle with a little bit, and sometimes it's an afterthought on my layouts. So we're going to address that this month by trying a couple of different title types. And the first one we're going to do is a long title, and we'll first start the layout and then I'll show you what I mean by using a long title. The pattern paper I'm using for the foundation is a Little Yellow Bicycle collection, and this pattern paper is from the My Girl collection from My Mind's Eye. And I've cut it down to a rectangle. It was actually already a scrap. I simply cut it though to fit on the page. I'm going to be adding a couple of different pattern papers, and the color scheme was inspired by this cut and paste paper from My Mind's Eye. On one side it has a really large houndstooth and the other has this beautiful floral. And then I simply picked out pattern papers such as the ruby red in the flower and the citron green. This particular paper is also from My Mind's Eye, and this one is a Dots and Stripes collection paper from Echo Park Paper. We'll start by layering them a little bit, and then we're going to cut some of the ends into pennant shapes. This is a great way to use up your scraps. Now on the left side of the layout, I'm going to be adding a photo frame, and this particular Polaroid frame is from a Pebbles collection, and it's a nice gray dot, which is kind of the same neutral gray tan, the grays over here in this flower. So I wanted to kind of temporarily lay this down on the layout so I can see where to best place my pennant shapes. And when I lay them down, I kind of overlap them just a little bit so that the heights are a little bit different, the widths are a little bit different. It keeps it a little bit more interesting. To the inside of the photo frame, I have pre-printed a photo. You could use a 4x6 photo and then simply measure the width of the frame. And we will peel away the adhesive protector, which is just a little strip of white paper, and it reveals the adhesive below. There's adhesive both on the bottom side as well as the top side, so that when you close it, it's completely stuck together. This particular package from Pebbles comes with several different patterns as well as two different sizes. They have a large size as well as a small size. And when you're closing it, just make sure to align the corners before you go back and add all the others. Behind the photo, I'm going to be adding some tags, and again, I think about trying to use different sizes. This pink tag is from Fancy Pants, and it matches the pink and the floral, and this is an American Crafts flag, and I love the watercolor wash on it. And we'll add this to the top of our photo. And the twine in the Fancy Pants tag is how it comes. It already comes with that awesome twine. Behind the photo, I'm going to be adding a doily, and I get these at Michael's or any of your cake decorating store. They come in a variety of different styles, and I've even seen gold ones, so you can pick whatever one you want. This one's about 4 inches in diameter. You'll notice that this Polaroid frame has 2 windows, so you can pick the side, and you can use this side or this side because the dot is the same. This would be fun for a Christmas ornament or a tag because you could decorate both sides. To the center of the doily, I'm going to be adding a floral piece, but before I do that, I'm actually going to run some tape down the center of this pennant here. This gray dot is from Doodlebug Designs, and it is just a white dot on gray. We're going to run it right over the top of that doily, and then we'll tuck that extra piece behind. And then this pink is a older tape that I got on 2Ps. I'll be sure to link you to some additional options in case you can't find these specific ones. You could simply just pick tapes that match. You'll notice that I'm using both a polka dot and a diagonal stripe. So try and mix it up either by using different widths or different colors. So this particular die cut comes from a Pebbles collection, similar to this collection, and it actually comes in a pocket and these little tags remove. But I liked it as an embellishment for my layout, and that's how I'm going to use it. You'll see that it has a really charming polka dot on the back. We'll just center this in the page. To the edge of the pennant, I've taken a scallop border punch, and I picked a green that was a little bit darker, but that has yellow tones. So even though it's not the exact same yellowed green, it does have yellow tones in it. And you don't notice that sometimes until you get your cardstock out and compare it to the papers that you're already using. Just simply tuck this behind. And I've pre-cut it so that it doesn't run quite the entire height of this bright pennant. To the tags, I'm going to add a Dear Lizzie die cut that says number 1, and it's in pink. I place all of my die cuts into baggies or collections, and then as I'm shopping for my layout, I look for items that might match. The journaling I have printed on a sheet of craft cardstock paper, and I'm going to cut the right edge into a pennant shape before tucking that onto my layout. I'm going to tuck it here on the bottom. Looks like it is a little bit longer than I need it. So I'm going to cut those pennants at a little bit less of a sharp edge. And there, that fits much better. I don't know if you've had a chance to use the Color Wash collection from, or Color Magic collection from Heidi Swapp, but these come as white on white, and they have a shiny part, and then you simply mist it. And I have a video coming out for 2Ps this Friday that shows you how to do this technique. It is a seeing double video, so be sure to watch my blog or check out my playlist for 2Ps here on my YouTube channel, and it'll show you a technique for using the Color Magic collection from Heidi Swapp. But if you like having customized embellishments or you love using mist, this is such a fun project. I recently took a class from Heidi and she totally got me excited about this product. So we'll curve this here, making sure that you don't cover any of the important words. We're going to trim off just a smidge of the banner. And to the pot, we are going to add a white button tied with twine. And we'll just use a glue dot to adhere that in place. And I've already tied it into a bow. Now, when I'm talking about long titles, this is what I mean. As you're planning your layout and you're planning what you want to say, sometimes the journaling will say a lot, or sometimes the title might say a lot. And a long title allows you to say more about the layout or to have more words in your title. Sometimes my titles are one words, but today's title is going to be a little bit longer, and there's a couple of different ways to do that. One is to take letter stickers and to spell out your title. Now, I suggest when you're doing this that you note the height of the letters you're using and how many words. And then I suggest writing it on a piece of paper so that you make sure you have enough width and height to spell out the title you're thinking of. One way you can do it is to cut a long title with your Silhouette machine, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the same craft cardstock here, and I'm going to cut a longer title. It was a cut that I already found in the Silhouette store. You could also cut your own title by simply stacking words together in the Silhouette machine software and then welding them together. So let me show you the title we're going to use. So here is the die cut title that I cut, and you'll notice that when I place it down, you cannot read the title very well. So one way to handle this, because I still want to place it on this long piece of pattern paper, is to use a sheet of vellum. Now when I place it on the vellum, then it's a lot easier to read. But the vellum looks a little bit boring, so I want to dress it up a little bit, and so I'm going to be stamping on the vellum. To do that, I am going to be using a foam base because I want to make sure I get a nice clean image. I've taken a folded sheet of printer paper and I'm going to place this on top. I'm going to be using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to be using an older Hero Arts doily stamp. And then I'm going to use some white embossing powder, and this will make it stand out a little bit. White ink doesn't show up very well on vellum, so I always emboss when I do this step. So to do this, you simply ink up your stamp with the Versamark ink pad, or you can also use an embossing ink pad if you prefer, because they're tinted. Make sure you get the ink nice and juicy. Then you can stamp the image. And at this point you can't see it, trust me, it's there. That's one reason why you might want to use the embossing ink pad, so you can see where you've stamped. Just a second one down here, and then we'll do a final one. If you take too long in between stamping your images, one thing that you can do is you can blow a little bit of warm air onto the image with using your breath, and you can then re-ink that wet image. So now we're going to take some of the white embossing powder, and the reason why I have folded this printer paper is so that I can pour it on the image and tap it off into the center. If it looks like you didn't get it on all of the image, you can add some more. And come and do the next image. And be generous. And then the bottom image. Once you have the entire image, what you can do is you can pull all of the powder into that center fold and then pour it right back into the container. That way you're wasting as little as possible. The next step will involve using a heat gun, and I suggest you get a dedicated heat tool. And as you are heating vellum, vellum very easily curls, so you want to hold it far enough away that it embosses the image but it doesn't melt the paper. I'm going to do that off camera because it is noisy, and then I'll come back and show you how the image looks once it has been embossed. So you can see that the stamping and embossing job isn't exactly perfect, but it doesn't matter for the project that I am doing. To adhere the vellum is see-through, so wherever you place adhesive, it is going to be easy to spot. So I suggest putting it under the stamped doily image, and then you can also machine stitch or hand stitch it in place. You could staple it. You can even hold it in place with some washi tape. I'm going to machine stitch part of the edge, and then I'll show you what it looks like as it is held down, because you can see right now the vellum is curling up just a little bit. So you can see that I have machine stitched down this left, or rather right edge with some yellow sewing thread. Now I'll show you what the title looks like on top of the stamped and embossed vellum, and it stands out a lot better. So that works a lot better. So if you run into the issue of the title that you're using doesn't quite stand out, this is one where you can do it. And then I'll add adhesive to the back. You can also run it through your Xyron machine, or you can use a glue gun, or rather a glue stick, or a glue pen from Zig. That's one of my favorite ways to do that. Sometimes I'll place it on a sheet of scratch paper like this, and then really gum it up with the dot runner. That makes it a little bit more tacky and stick better to a raised surface like the embossed image that I have here. And you want to make sure that you place your title as exactly as it was on the cutting file. So you can see a longer title is a little bit more present on your layout. It stands out just a little bit more than a one-word title, and it becomes a more significant part of the layout. So let's go ahead and finish embellishing the page so we can help make it look its best. To help draw attention to the title, I'm going to use some arrows, and I'm going to use one of the citron green ones from Fancy Pants Designs and a pink one, and these are die cuts. They're very easy to add, or you can cut them with your silhouette machine if you so prefer. To the pink one, I'm going to add some mini paper clips just to make it a little bit more interesting, and I'm going to add one so that the big part of it is showing and one so that the small part is showing. And we'll use glue dots to hold it in place because the paper clips make it a little bit more heavy. Slightly overlap these, and that helps draw the eye down to the title. And then to finally balance out this corner down below, I'm going to use these fun resin flowers. These are from Fancy Pants. I will also link you to several other companies that make them. They are a little thicker, so you may want to think about that as you put them in your album. Some are a little thinner, like this particular flower isn't quite as thick. And we'll just add them to that bottom corner like that. So there you can see how a long title helps ground the entire page, and we've basically put everything in the center of the page, and that draws the eye right in. But that long title really stands out and says a little bit more than, say, a one-word title that said maybe life. So thank you for joining me for today's Memories Made video. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on this weekly video tutorial.